So I just ended up going with normal nuts, not the nylock nuts. I heat shrink the ends of the machine screws and then just poured epoxy resin, slightly thickened up with aerosol. I've already tested a couple of them and they're coming out fine. I also put a strengthening ridge here, just because this edge here was sagging a little bit and I need to really try and keep it straight. Not really happy with this back bit, but hopefully it works out. Okay. So I've just found something horribly bad. It's been 16 hours of this curing. I went to undo all these screws so I could rip up all the tape and free up this area. And then I was going to screw it all back in. But I had a whole bunch of these let go as I was taking them out, which I am furious about. I'm not happy with them. Learn from my mistakes. I'm an idiot. They're coming off really easy. I feel like blobbing them in without the circles was better, but I still had one of those ones let go. Back to the drawing board. I don't want to use those pop rivet things because then it's going to be spaced out underneath a little bit. Not that you should be able to see that. This is what you'll see. That's another devastating blow to me. I was hoping I could start shaping the top and merging it into this. I really pushed myself getting all that epoxied in last night. I went straight to unwaxed polyester resin, which I thought the epoxy would really stick to. Even where I've ground it back, it still didn't bond. Maybe I had the mix slightly off, but it felt really hard to me. I don't want to put flat bar in and then tap it. It'll be too heavy and too time consuming. But then again, this is time consuming stuffing this up. Do I try and rough it up a bit better this time and then try another batch of epoxy? I don't know if I've got enough nuts now. In every sense of the word. Back to square one. It's all ground back. Bloody hell, I hope something right happens. Back here again. So I just put heat shrink over the bolts. I've ground back every single spot with the grinder with 40 or 20 grit, I can't even remember, very roughly. It's all the way around. I'm not going to worry about putting those caps. I'm just going to make sure that I mix it so it's runnier. I want the epoxy to be runnier so it absorbs into this porous surface a lot nicer. Fingers crossed. If this doesn't work, I could put sleeves of wood and glue wood in and then just have wood screws going into it, but then that'll rot or have the potential to rot. It'll be heavy. It'll strip out, but at least if it strips out, I can drill it out bigger and then jam epoxy resin into it and then do it like that. Anyway, I'm not feeling very good about this. I'm just going to use the heat gun to shrink all the heat shrink so it's a nice tight fit because I need to get as much epoxy onto those nuts as possible. Okay, you guys are probably sick of this, but I'm more sick of looking at it. I've done 3 different thicknesses of epoxy. I did a really runny mix first on each blob, then slightly thicker, then slightly thicker again. Please work. Yes! Of course it works. Good boy, Michael. My thoughts are to split this ring now so that once I build the top, it'll be merged into this flange that I've made and it'll just come apart really easy. I hope. Got him! It's an awkward thing. I'm just going to clean this up with the grinder, make it nice and straight. It's all neat looking now. I'm going to put this back on here. I've cleaned all this up with Terps and Prepsol. All right, let's get into it again. Oh yeah, that looks way neater now, doesn't it? Now to do the fun part. I need to make the top merge into this edge here. I got to re-screw all of these screws back into this perimeter. So I've screwed all these screws back in and only one of them out of all of them spun. And the only reason it did that was because I was an idiot and I was using the drill and I cross-threaded it and I just forced it. Idiot. So after I stuffed that up, to be on the safe side, I used the tap to tap the M5 nuts and I had no problems the whole way around. So I just mixed some of this stuff up because that's such a small amount. I just blobbed some there and just a tiny bit here because the nut was nearly exposed there. Anyway, it's time to get this top sorted out. Okay, she's all level again. I just moved this off so I can get to this straight edge so I can square everything up. It looks like it's got a bit of a crown when I have got it shaped like this uniform round. So I think I'll cut it where the laser line is, nice and straight. I think the curve going forward will look nicer like that. This is really difficult because it curls on the outsides and on the front. My old roof was just the sides. Like this, I'll get a slighter angle here, which I think will look better. I've wasted days trying to think of how to make this symmetrical very technically. And what I've come up with is I'm just using a simpler shape underneath. And then I'll do the same method I did with the last time with the foam. I got to do something. At least this shell will be replaceable easily. If I'm not happy with it, I'll fix it later down the track. I just need to get something done because I need to get this thing put together, all the parts taken out of my house, spread throughout my house. It's completely consuming my life. I'm completely demoralized. I'm at a really low point right now. I just want to get this done. I don't care. I just want to, like, I've been going up this ladder and like looking at everything and it really doesn't look that bad. There's a few bodgy looking bits, which is why I'm redoing it. But I would have been happy with that. That's how bad I want to get it in the water. I feel like I should bring this boat, just the hull, to a local painter and just get it done, just to get my morale back up because I am in the pits right now. I keep going up the ladder to check measurements with what I'm happy with. I've got a big problem in my head is that I've moved that front edge down about 30 mil, which makes the angle on the front a little bit harsher. So I've tried to sweep it back even further, but then I'm going to have problems trying to brace it underneath. Picking the things that I like and changing the things that I don't like on the new one. I'm liking that front more and more. I've made the front drop down 30 mil. So that means that this edge here is going to be harsher. So I've like swept it back further, but then that makes it harder to put braces in later down the track. But I'm going to just figure everything out as I go. I've got a piece of wood that you can't see now because it's so dark, propping the top up, and it makes it look way better. But I think it's important to keep it as low profile as I can. This version, I'm putting some relief cuts in this angle to help it curl around. I don't know if you guys remember, but last time I had a hole cut out of the foam here and I had to patch it up and it was a pain. I'm hoping this is going to make it easier. And then all I'm going to do is I'm going to glue this down. I'll probably still curl it like that because I don't mind how it tapers that way, but it won't have those shoulders like last time. I'm just really worried about this front edge because I think that's acceptable like how it is. This iteration, that edge here is down about 15 to 20 mil. And then the whole bottom goes slightly lower, which I think will look nicer because it'll cover all the frames up. I've got the middle propped up with wood. I'm a bit worried about the sag in the middle. I'm hoping once it's all made together, it'll hold itself in the right spot. That's why I've leveled everything. You might be able to see it's got a massive concave there because it's all sunken in. It needed structure to make it stronger. I'm hoping that the slight curve is also going to make it stronger there. And the back is just a disaster. To glue all this flat edge in, it's much easier just making a hole with a screw like that. And then I inject hot glue gun into the hole and then I put a weight on it. I'm really battling some demons right now because I'm just feel like I'm doing the same thing. I have to just keep reminding myself to just keep going. It's taken me such a long time just to do this bit because every time I do a cut, I'm just considering all the different other things, and I just really need to just spend a lot more time sanding and making sure that all the angles are correct. This is the angle that I'm worried about. I feel like it's too steep. If this was up further, like where it was last time, it would make this angle more gradual, which looks a lot nicer. I've cut this piece of wood back 3 times trying to get that angle further from further back, but I'm hitting the structure underneath, so I'm really got a lot of constraints. I just hot glue gunned this part in. I made the same exact shape for the other side as well. And I glued this other shape, which was the same shape as this shape, but 50 mil higher because it's on like a bit of a lifted section here. See, it's the same. And this is all around the same spot. Now I'm going to use polyester resin thickened up with Cabasol, and I'll use these weights to hold it down and glue it down so then I can sand it easily, because when I use a hot glue gun, wherever I hot glue gun and sand, it is terrible. It just clogs the disc up straight away. Just so you guys learn from my mistakes. Far out. The resin's already gone off. Makes it too strong. I made this thingy. This is so I get the same curve on this side as I do on that side. This thing will hook under there eventually. I just need to sand it down enough. I'm feeling a little bit adventurous. I think I'm gonna get away with cutting this down just a tiny bit, and then I'm gonna cut it straight here. Then I'm gonna cut some honeycomb, and I'm going to just test out if I can get some honeycomb in there after I lay some tape down and everything. I'm hoping I can finish it at this height. So when I lay the fiberglass over this, it'll already have the skeleton in it. If this works, I'll put another couple around the place. I've still got some high spots here and here, just like last time. The cut didn't help me. It took ages. It took heaps of sanding to get it like this. The thing I'm worried about is I really should have glued another thick piece of foam to bring it out here because I'm too close to the edge. It's not holding on by very much. Anyway, let's see how it goes. So I did this one that's 130 mil wide because that's where the join was, and that's how wide I needed to make it fit. And you saw how much I struggled to do that. So I was like, oh, I'll do another thin one. So then I did that one, and then I was like, oh yeah, that will be strong. And then I was like, oh, it really needs one up the front as well. So then I did this one, and then I thought, most people will want to jump onto the front of the roof if they want to go onto the roof. So that's where it will be the strongest. So then I started cutting the honeycomb and then I was like, man, that doesn't look right. It's going to be that distance, but I'll put one in between that. Then I put one just there. And then I'm going to put another one of honeycomb here. And then I'm going to do honeycomb vertically around the front edge, so it definitely gets rid of any sagging that will happen. And now I'm thinking I should recess it like 3 mil, and then I'll just like do 2 or 3 layers of fiberglass, which is like 50 mil wide, and then I'll glass over the whole lot, and then I am done. That is done. I don't know. I still haven't fixed here or here on the front edges. I'm happy with the curve here and here, but yeah, I feel like if I've got honeycomb here, there, I'll be able to crack this off and it will be a finished project. A 25-foot Bertram project will be completed and ready to paint, nearly, other than the stuff that I need to do inside the boat. Anyway, what I was meaning is I spent more time thinking about doing all this work than actually doing the work. It probably took about 15 minutes to do each line. Maybe that one took 30 minutes because it was wider and pain in the ass because I already had it wide. Anyway, doesn't matter. But what I'm trying to say is learn from my mistakes. If you're thinking about doing something, just do it. And if you bugger it up, you can fix it later. You always manage to adapt, or I do, sort of. I'm not trying to sound like a town hero. I'm just saying that I wish I had a plan in my head and just stuck with it from the start, and I would have been able to do this really quick and it would have impressed Stacey. Stop, it's too short. This was a bit fiddly to put on. I screwed this on so it would stiffen this front edge so it doesn't sag. Like this one, I've got a stick there to stiffen it up. I want to avoid having a sag there. This is going to stiffen the back, and this is going to also beef up for where I've planned to put a spoiler kind of thing. Or it's just going to be a ridge, but it'll make the back stiff. The whole thing's stiff now. I figure I'll be able to crack it off without gluing stuff onto it with funny shapes. Also, by bringing this out further, it's also going to have a bit of a lip, so when the rain does come down, it'll try to favour coming off the side rather than the front. But I'm also hoping that I can shape the front of the roof so it's on a slighter angle somehow. I don't know. And then what I'm thinking is I'll put some more foam on the front edge, so then I can shape it and then route some more grooves like I did here, and then put some more honeycomb here as well. So then that will make all the front rigid so it doesn't collapse down like the other one, except this one's propped up in the front. This will hopefully make it not sag like this one. That's after a quick grind. I was just trying to make it as flat as I can on the top because now I'm going to put boggle over it. This back bit is going to be tricky. I'll have to figure out a way of making everything symmetrical and straight. Perfect. So I'm just bogging everything up now to make everything as flush as I can. It's really important. I'm going to spend a lot of time this time making sure everything's flat. I'm happy with this curve here and I'm happy with this curve here. I used the sanding block over there to make sure that that was all the right angle. This honeycomb was as long as I could get it to here. So to continue the curve, I've just made some formwork out of this podgy stuff and the hot glue gun, and it'll break apart real easy. I'm just going to pour some bog in there, make a runny mix like that, break it off, and then I'm going to clean this edge up as well. I've been putting off this area and that area. I need to somehow make it a more slight angle. Okay, that's roughly bogged up. I ended up putting some holes in here and more foam, and then I obviously filled that up with bog because I'm trying to get that on a gradual angle. It was all kinked up there. The only way I could do that is to cut it out. Let's strip the formwork. Beautiful. I've trimmed off the top stuff so I can get a better angle to see what it's going to look like from the back. And I'm not happy with how wide it is. This needs to be as thin as possible, I feel. And the shape's not symmetrical. I made this stencil. This goes to center here. I like this side. I don't like that side. It's really hard to show. Not sure if you guys can notice, but this corner and this corner are on different angles. The easiest way to get rid of it, I'm guessing, is to grind this bit out. I feel like I've glued this bit of honeycomb on a bit of an angle like that. I hope, fingers crossed. So I'm going to shave all of this out with the grinder and then cut a new piece to put here. I should have shaved this down before I glued it in how it is. I'm really doing my head on this. Hats off to the people at any boat factory that make these fancy roofs. I know they've got all the materials, but they used to do all this in the olden days. We can criticize the old Bertram roof, but what they did, the way they pulled it off, is just amazes me. That they could wrap it up in the fiberglass the way they did and squash it together with two skins, and it looked half decent. Anyway, back to work. I'm just gonna try and do it with one. I'm happy with how that one looks. I'll try to match that one with that one.
Hey friends, beautiful smile, you.
$20. Really? Yeah, because he wouldn't leave till.
Of course, yes.
I've been coming home after work, after big days, and I've been bogging a little bit every single day. Not sure how it's going to turn out, but it makes me feel like I'm at least trying to get ahead, and every time I have to wait for the resin to harden, it takes time. I feel like I'm slowly getting ahead. The skeleton is there. I'm trying to make it as smooth as I can now before I lay the fiberglass on. That is 40 litres of polyester resin there. And that's just what I'm probably going to grind out of the underside of the fiberglass after I've finished making this all nice and smooth. I ran out of Q-cell, so I was just using some Cabasol to fair most of that out. I did it very thinly, and I did it over 2 weeks, and I did it after work every day. I would sand it, all the ridges out of it, and then I'd bog it. I got lazy and I didn't film most of it, but I used the big scraper, 1200 long. That was fun. And I kept grinding into the the foam, so I'd have to bog all those up. But I finally got to a stage where I could run the grinder over it without digging in and stuffing stuff up. So I've just finished laying up what I'm hoping is going to be my final bog before I fiberglass. Fingers crossed about that, because that probably won't happen knowing me. And tomorrow I'll make a funny thing that the router should have come with, but I can't find it. But I'll make a jig so the router will follow this straight edge perfectly. And then I'll route this edge. But that's all after I've sanded everything as flat as I can. I might go to Super Cheap and get some carbog just to do the fiddly things, which I don't really think is that necessary because I'm going to end up grinding it out anyway. But I just want to try to make this is like the mold, which is going to all be sacrificial. Other than where I've made the ribs, that 40 litres of polyester resin is including making those ribs of honeycomb as well, which you can hardly see now because I've laid so much bog over it, trying to get everything straight and symmetrical. At the moment, there's still a few little lumpy bits, but hopefully after I sand it tomorrow, it'll be fine. The only thing is it's not going to sand nice because I ran out of wax. The nice people at Acme Fiberglass, I found out they're way closer. No hard feelings, AA composite. They're just closer, and I had a job near them, so I ended up going there, and they had everything there. I was really amazed. Closer is my favourite. They were very helpful there too. What does that look like? Can you see in camera if it looks all right? Whatever it is now is how it's going, because I can't afford the time or money to do another iteration. This is it. I definitely think it looks better having the curved top. After I put some rails on either side and solar panels all over the roof, it should hide any stuff ups anyway. I'm just a little bit worried about the angle here when you look at it from side on, which is really hard to do in my shed because I don't have enough space to get far enough back. But this is dropped down a touch compared to the first iteration, which will make this angle steeper, which I shouldn't have done in hindsight. But anyway, that will give me a lip under here. It's definitely going to be a lot more rigid this time and probably more heavy. But I'll choose heavy and strong over light and weak any day. I'm doing this a second time because it's taken me 5 years and it's embarrassing. If it looks all unsymmetrical, everyone will judge me and think that I'm an idiot. And I'll think I'm an idiot too. I've sanded everything back. Now I want to make all this really neat. I've spent a lot of time sanding this nice and straight with a longboard and also the top here. I'm pretty happy with everything. There's only a few minor imperfections, but I think it's nearly ready for fiberglass. What I'm going to do now is I just made this thingy to hold the router, and it should be 65mm from there to there, and then that will make it nice and uniform against this back edge, which is all straight. It was a pain in the ass. I had to find the screws that I put in the back that will hold the roof to the ceiling skin. I had some pictures, luckily, because I've done so many layers of bog to get it nice and straight. I lost the screws, but I found them again. I just need to remember when I fiberglass over here, I'll have to find them again, which I've got some marks there, and I've got my way of finding it. It'll be rough, but at least I'm slow. Now I've got that bit nice and straight. I just need to make these curves on both sides symmetrical. So I'm just going to make a nice shape. This side's the nicer side. I'll get a pen and a bender ruler and make a nice shape. This is how I'm trying to make this edge as symmetrical as I can. I just marked it out with pencil where I've got to scallop it out manually with the router. They're not completely perfect, but it's very close. The other thing is I'm going to have to make some type of jig formwork thing to get a nice even round up the top here. So this is the thingy that I'm making to try and get this curve nice. You can see this side here is slightly higher because I've cut these stumps exactly the same height and I've leveled this off and it's doing my head in. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'll put a nice film of bog from here to here, and then I've got to wing it on the corners. I'm about 6 mil out. This side is slightly higher, but hopefully you won't be able to see that. But now it's got a nice uniform curve. It's been a few hours now. This is ready to crack off. I made the polyester resin with 7%, maybe 10% wax, so I can sand it straight away because everyone knows how much I love sanding. I still need to do some more bog around these edges here just to make it look really round and perfect. Fingers crossed this works out. That'll give me some form to bog to and sand to. I need to fade it into here, and over here I need to fade it as well. That already looks way better, just like that. And it's going to look even better after I do some more sanding. I'll be using a long board, at least that long, so I don't get any bumpy bits. I'm hoping after this bog, I'll be able to fiberglass this boiler area. I'm not worried about these voids here because I'll be able to use the rest of it to bog to. So I should get it with this bog, I'm hoping. Even if I don't, it doesn't matter. I'll be routing this edge here and then I'll fiberglass from there to there, wait for it to harden enough so I can grind this bit, and then I'll put a nice fillet of bog here, and then that way the fiddly bit is done. I'll probably fiberglass around this front area too. I'll route that area as well. And then I'll be grinding all of the foam out from the underside once I pop it up, and then fiberglass the supports that I've made in under all the bog now, which should be pretty easy to find when it's upside down. And then I'll brace it lengthways with extra fiberglass that I got the other day. Once I put a fillet in here, all of this will blend really nice. At the moment, it looks really straight and awesome, but after I route it and put a fillet there, it'll look spot on, I'm pretty sure. And that bit is structural because it's honeycomb. It's just got lots of bog there, just like all the other ribs. These smell like vomit. Stacey hates them even more than I hate them. Well, actually I hate them. It saved me though. The router skipped out and nearly got my finger, but luckily I had this on.
There's it's a compound curves on the roof. Nothing's ever going to be symmetrical because depending on which angle you look.
Yeah, but it should look symmetrical. So that's why when you do that, it goes to a point, and then it goes round.
No one's going to be able to do that when it's on the boat in the water.
I will.
No, you won't.
Yeah.
Because you'll be in the water. And
you'll sit on the engine box. You'll be standing on the engine box and I'll be going... Yeah. We go, don't look!
But open the front, there's a bit of air. Yeah.
We're just looking at it from a distance and it's satisfactory. Is it a pass, Frankie?
I think it's a bit high here.
The whole thing's facing this way, so it's hard to eye it up straight on. Try and help us get this symmetrical.
Yes. Line yourself up to the middle.
Go up and down.
Compare that side and that side against the background.
So we've made a stencil because we're definitely not happy with the angles. This angle here, exactly the same problem as the first iteration, which is on the boat now. And that is that I didn't scallop out enough of the foam before I did all this bogging. So now I need to gouge all of this out and get down to the past all the bog and into the foam and hopefully get the right kind of shape. That template is pretty accurate. And it was my dad's idea. It just shows how much better it is when you've got someone else with you to help push you do things that you normally wouldn't do. Normally, I would have wasted days and days and days throughout the years of me just contemplating making stuff because I get lazy. What's the level say?
0 degrees.
Oh, so it's good.
So it's square.
Must be perfect if the iPhone says.
Hey Michael, there's a big lump. There's a high spot here.
Lots more. I just want to make sure I don't go too far.
Yeah.
Still easy. It is tons. Look at it. From a distance it looks shit. Frankie, Jim, Frankie.
How are you? Next door neighbour.
You're next door?
Yeah. I just wanted to show you a photograph, Mike, of what I just bought.
Oh, awesome.
E.K. Holden.
I think we deserve a beer. Cheers, Douglas.
You gotta pour it slowly.
I'm trying to get a good head on it.
Disgusting.
Cheers.
Cheers. 3 hours of standing.
So I've still got some more grinding to do. My dad just left. I brought him over so we could fiberglass it, but the shape was so terrible when we looked at it from afar that we decided to grind everything out of the bad side, which I thought was the good side when I was looking at it from that there and from in here. But once you come further back is when you see all the problems. So it's looking good now. You know, I've got to replace all the foam bits there, but I've got a hump there that I need to grind out now. And then I need to glue in all that foam, obviously. I'm happy though, my dad convinced me to get rid of the shoulders that were there, which meant I went back into the foam, but it looks a lot more pleasing to the eye. Everyone knows how vain I am. And from this angle here, it looks very swept back, which is good. I want it to look as swept back as I can. It'll probably even look more swept back after I'm done with it. But all of the bogging that I've done over the past 2 or 3 weeks is all in the bin now and everywhere in the shed. I have to keep pulling the roll doors down. It's a nightmare. But I need to finish this. I need to get this out of the way. This is why getting a roof custom built would cost a fortune if you wanted it to look like this, because it's a son of a bitch to get looking symmetrical when it curves that way and you're trying to make it look good. It's absolute torture. I'm happy with the spoiler though. Spoiler looks all right. Probably all you boat builders out there will be picking it to pieces and saying, I told you to get that square foamy crap and blah, blah, blah. I'm an idiot, I know. I just wanted to get it done with what I had, which was that crap and some honeycomb. Now my dad's saying leave the foam in the underside, which I really didn't want to do, because when you put fiberglass on both sides of the foam, it's only low density foam. It gets it really heavy and uses lots of resin, and I'm sick of wasting resin on it. But then again, I'd rather it be bulletproof than light and weak. I've already put 3 more of those in here. That's so I can put these screws in once that's all held together, hopefully. No! That bit was meant to go here. This is how bodgy you can be. I don't want to get any glue on the sides because if I grind all this down, it'll make it a nightmare. Easiest job on the planet, putting foam in. The grinding bit is a bit that's tricky. You need to make sure it's all looks good. Before you think to call your dad to help you fiberglass. That'll do, that'll give me enough to bog to. I'll sand it quickly, bog it delicately, get rid of the screws after it's hardened, and hopefully it should hold its form. Learn from my mistakes. Have a very far away look at the back and from the front, not just one direction. You want to get it from both directions a long way because if it looks good, it's good. Put a bit of aerosol in the bog with the Q-cell. It'll have no worries at all gluing to all of that. Filling those gaps up is nothing compared to what I've done on the rest of the thing. Ah, I blew out this side as well. More foam, more bog. It's looking much better. It still has lots of improvement, but I need to wait for the bog to stiffen up a bit and I am absolutely exhausted. But you can see it looks a lot more symmetrical now. I just need to sand it a little bit more. You will be finished, little baby. I tried to do that technically for you guys. Thought I'd be showing off, but I mixed too much bog, so I did this front area, which there was like a flat. That's just so I can fiberglass down there easier. And I've put some more bog over there and there to just use it up. That's what the fillet looks like, just in case I didn't show it clear enough. It'll definitely need some sanding. We've completely changed the shape of the hard top, but it looks much better. It pretty much just goes to this lip like the old style iPhone. Yeah, it looks much better. There's some little holes and stuff, but we're just using this for formwork anyway. It's fiberglass time. Looks much more symmetrical. I can't even see the screen because it's so friggin' dusty. We just made it like a bubble. So I'll do a wet layer and then you can help spread it. Because I don't have a tray, which I do have trays, which I bought.
So we're going to start around a corner? Or
Yeah,
put the flatbeds.
Start around the corner, I reckon. I've been layering bog all over it really thin. That's only 2 coats on the top. It came out really nice. There's a couple of little bumpy bits that I need to get rid of, but I really need to see how it holds its form. We fiberglassed over this edge. I need to locate all the screws. I've got 40 mil from this lip, from that line up is where the center of one of the screws are, and I've done it all over the place. I think there's only 5 screws on the back that I need to hopefully wing it and get the right centers, and hopefully all those nuts that I epoxied in hold together, otherwise I am screwed. Everything I'm doing is definitely the most untechnical, stupid way of doing stuff. I'm so embarrassed about how long this is taking. Anyway, I really should lift the shed up and have a far away look, but I'm exhausted. Anyway, I'm gonna do a little bit more fiddly sanding, and then I'll hopefully find the right holes. I put Play-Doh over the screw heads before I fiberglassed over them, so the fillets bit will still be okay. I've just spent a long time lasering everything up, and this is a perfect 90-degree here, and you can see how far I'm out. And I knew that when I made the underside I was out. No wonder it doesn't look symmetrical. It's so hard to doing my head in. I wish I did this more technically. I used a laser, and then I also used a line that I thought I might use. Idiot. I just missed this one. Well, I can see I've got a scallop out this side, and then I have to clean up the screw. That one's pretty good. Ooh, that one missed big time. Okay, that looks like dog shit. So I've got an idea. I'll 3D print a sleeve that goes around the screw, and then I'll bog around the sleeve, pull the screw out, and then the plastic can melt away with acetone or something like that. I don't know what I'm doing. Don't copy me. I'm making some spaces. I should have made the outer diameter slightly wider, but it'll do. I'll just make it look neater. It'll hide where I stuffed up like that. I just made a polyester gel coat mix, and I'm just squeezing it into the cracks. I'm hoping that the PLA dissolves with acetone. Well, I know it will. And then I'll be left with a nice clean hole. So it's like flow coat, in other words. I'm just trying to make both sides symmetrical, so I shot lasers and squared everything up and taken a bunch of measurements, and then I'm going to make the other side look like this side, and then see what looks good, and then fiddly stuff. Came out good. Oh my god, I'm so close. I just want to peel it off and use it. Just want to see what it looks like on the boat. I'm dying to see it. But I feel like I still need to make a structure on the top, because once I crack this off, it'll never hold its shape as good as what it is now. But it looks a lot more symmetrical. The shape's a lot nicer. It's not perfect, but it's pretty good. Kind of looks like my Mickington logo, just the top of a UFO. Hopefully that looks okay up here. I'm going to try and pop it off without building a structure on top to hold it. I think it will hold its own shape with what I've got in it. I've got those ribs that go that way. It's 4 layers of fiberglass thick instead of 3 like last time. And that's 3 layers there, and that held its shape pretty good. It started to really deform while it's been in the sun for a few months now. But I'm too impatient. I'm so sick of looking at it the way it is. I'll probably regret it, but I just want to have a peek. I just unscrewed the underside of the roof, which is this, from the top side of the roof. None of the nuts spun. They all came out good. We're in business. Yow! That's what the back holes look like now. I haven't ground the bottom's really nice yet because that shape might change a little bit after I've cleaned up the underside of the roof, which you'll hopefully see very soon. And hopefully this top side holds its shape. Okay, wish me luck. You can see all the imperfections. I need to do another bog run, but I want to see how it holds its shape. And I want to fiberglass and grind out the foam from on the underside. Not 100% if I'm going to grind the foam out yet. I just want to see how strong it is. I guarantee you it'll look better than that roof. Yeah, baby. Now to get the underside looking good, so then I can key that in. Also, I need to reinforce the top side. My dad reckons keep the foam in there and do a layer of fiberglass on the foam, but I would prefer to get rid of the foam and then put fiberglass stringers in. I don't know, what should I do? I can't rip that apart yet because I probably have to put that back on here just to make sure everything lines up good still. It was already an awkward thing to get off just how it is now. So I'm happy that I did what I did. I just pulled it off without building a frame on the top of the structure. I feel like it's very strong. Not sure how it will be after I grind out everything, but I'm pretty confident it'll be okay. I'm just winging it. I think it'll be good. Fingers crossed it'll stay straight. So that's the underside of the roof. I'm just going to clean it up. I need to put some fiberglass that goes from there to there, and then I need to bog it all up nice. And a load of sanding, of course. I didn't dismantle the frame yet because I might need that still. Not sure how I'm going to keep it in one piece because I'll need to shift the boat and more dust. But it's nice to look at something different. I am so sick of looking at that thing. This thing's really rigid, which I'm happy about, especially when it's sitting like that because that back bit is strong. I got no sag from the front as well, so I'm really happy about that. I did see that it did flop in there and there a little bit when I was lifting it off, but while it's standing vertically like that, there shouldn't be any weight or gravity going this way. Oh my God, that's a lot of dust I just made. I'm pretty sure I've hit all the high spots now. I could probably go further. You can see I've gone all the way through fiberglass in 1 or 2 areas. I'm going to use this for my scraper. I'm going to mix a polyester resin bog and I'm going to scrape it in with this so I get a nice curve. That's my dad's idea. I don't know why I didn't think of that earlier. Just a rough bog, but it just brought it a little bit more symmetrical, filled up the little gaps, and then I'll curl it. It was pointless trying to put both of them on. I thought it was cool though. Before I pulled this off, I wish I had made a dummy handrail to go on either side to eye it up and see what would look good, because that would be way easier for me to lift it from the holes that the handrail would be in. I'm an idiot. It's very rigid on the bottom because the honeycomb is sitting vertically there. So I'm glad I did that. That's making it hold all its shape. All the gravity is pulling it down, not this way. Stacey just helped me get this onto the little tables so I can grind out this bit. I was too lazy to get on a ladder. I'm absolutely buggered. This looks good. Got no space. Making progress. I am 100% sure this is not the way to get ahead in life. They say grinding. You gotta grind. This is not the way to grind to get ahead in life. Learn from my mistakes. It's taken a lot of grinding to get to this stage, and it's not the right type of grind. Let's make it snow. Yeah, the dumbest way possible. That has got to be one of the biggest dust sessions I've ever made in one evening. This is fucked. It better look good. Hopefully I didn't bash any of the nuts. I'm pretty sure they're sweet. You see, I got a little bit out of control on some of it. It looks spectacular in real life. Well, to me it does anyway. I built that, and they joined together. I hope it looks amazing. I'm gonna stare at this for hours once it's done. I've just been chipping away at this mostly after work during the weekdays. Today, all I'm going to do is fiberglass this area here. At the moment, the way the roof's sitting on here, I'm not real happy with how it could be shaped because the weight of the roof is sitting down like that and I could have some bumps and waves. So I'm pretty sure this is going to be holding its shape because this is thick fiberglass here, lots of bog. Honeycomb is sitting this way. I'll fiberglass this tonight, then I'll sit this up vertically, and then I'll fiberglass these in so there's no pressure on all this area down here. I've got a good way of lifting this now, I think. This is pretty light too, which I'm happy about. It's still probably going to be a lot heavier than the original roof. I really admire Bertram for being able to pull off what they do or what they did when they made their roof. There's heaps of people that probably criticize how they did it and say it's heavy and whatever, but to be able to achieve what they did was awesome. Like, I just don't know how they got the roof together so quickly and so symmetrically. Well, obviously they had really good molds and all that type of stuff, but anyway, like, it's loads of work and there's a lot of smart people that work in the boat building business are much smarter than me. I'm sure it still took a lot of dust, but maybe not as much as what I've made. Maybe back in the day. I don't know. Let me know if you know. It was awesome meeting the guy from Acme Fiberglassing. He cut this the same day that I asked for it, which was awesome. That's something that I haven't been accustomed to. Normally it's been a ordered thing. but he cut all this heavy wovens. This double bias or something with a really thin layer of chop is good, because what I've found is chop strand holds to whatever base much better than just woven straight to the base. And I know that from ripping molds apart and being able to rip this shit off real easy. But if it's chop, it's a nightmare. So this has got chop on one side, wovens on the other. Obviously, I'll have the chop facing down, and then I'm going to make it two so it's infinity strong. And then when I sit it up vertically like that, all the strength is going to be that way. So it's going to be like sitting on a big flat bar. Anyway, that's what I think anyway. Correct me if I'm wrong. Probably should have used a smaller brush. Oh well, more grinding. This is my lifting solution. Just going to clean this up with the grinder because I love making dust and I want to make it look nicer than what it is. There's all rough stuff here that I want to get rid of. Just going to clean these up a little bit. Then I want to lift it up vertically and horizontally just to see how much it flexes and stuff and how well it lifts up from these little bodgy electrical P-clip thingies. It's not very heavy, so it should be fine, but I want to see how much it deforms. It looks like it's lifted up good from this way. I'm looking here and everything's nice and curly. There's no flat spots. It's good enough for me. I'm so over it. I'm gonna glass it. I need to get this shit done. I hope that turns out good. I'm losing my voice. That's a big day. I just glassed in another piece of honeycomb up the front, keep that rigid. And I just found out that I've only got about 5 litres of unwaxed polyester resin left, so I need to go back to the shops and get more. Oh, that took a few more bogs to get it this nice and flat, but it looks heaps better like that. And now I need to carve into here because I want a fiberglass down here so it's not just made out of bog. I made this big scraper and scraped it this way after I did this. So it took a couple days to get like that of afterworks. Oh, more dust. I did this around the entire perimeter. That looks way straighter now. She looks pretty damn cool now. I'm really hoping I can pull this bog off so I don't have to sand it too much. I feel like it's so good at the moment, but it needs a little bit more bog just to make it nice. I'm going to do it with wax in it so it will be like a flow coat, so it'll sand really nice and I can use a finer grit sandpaper without it clogging. But it's really coming together. I am dying to get this into that and show you guys what it looks like. I just wanted to make sure it looked nice first. Taken a motherload of very creative grinding and sanding and bogging and fiberglass to get to this stage. That's 9 kilos of dust in there. I've lost count of how much dust I've binned. So she's starting to look a lot better now, but it's not perfect. If you put this light here like that, you can see all the imperfections. To get rid of all the holes, I've made this thing out of PVC pipe and 40 grit sandpaper so I can chew through it quick. And I'll just keep sanding it until it looks good. I think this side's better. That's good. I'm dying to get this together. This needs another bog to make it really perfect. So I can be better with my time, I'm going to fit the underside of the roof into the top side of the roof. Then I need to figure out how I can join these rings and the ceiling into the top side of the roof so it makes like a kind of bridge. This will be structural and this thing won't wobble around. I'm really bad at explaining things, sorry. Anyway, I've been dying to put this in to the top. So it's not mating up as good as I was hoping it was going to. These holes aren't lining up, but I'm guessing if I podge it into spot, it looks like it needs to pull back a lot. I might have added too much bog onto this end lip here on that vertical. For some reason, I just thought it would look different. There's not as much room under here as I thought there'd be, but I will be able to run wires and hoses easily. This is how I've got to get the screws in. We do this when we're building the weather radars. We call these the Dobermans because my friend that I work with is from Dover in Tasmania, and we just talk about Dobermans all the time because he's from Dover, or I talk to him about it. And you just use a little podgy and just twist it into spot, push the holes over until it lines up nice, which none of them are lining up really good. But I'm hoping once I get it into the right spot and maybe leave it like that for a bit, it'll like being there more. And you really have to make sure you don't strip the screws. The more screws you get in, the better everything lines up. I got every single screw in now. I ended up using this to make sure that I didn't strip anything except one of them stripped. I reckon it's probably the one that I used the araldite for. I did use the drill on it again, idiot. Anyway, I'll be able to cut the head off because it's protruding a bit, which is fine. I'll be able to fix that. I've gotten this far. Of course, that's nothing compared to what I've managed to achieve. It looks pretty cool. I'm just going to use the grinder to clean all this edge up. At the moment, there's a bit of a lip there. And I'm really tempted to see what it looks like on the boat. But I need to do lots of shuffling, and it finally rained today, of all days to rain. I'm hoping this won't break when I lift everything all together. I really wish I had the rings all glued into place. I definitely won't be able to have the rings flush like the last time I showed you guys. There's just not enough room or clearance between the stringers, and here I could hack the stringers back, but I'm not going to. I think it'll look ugly. It's the last time that roof's ever going to be seen. No one contacted me to get it, so I'm going to throw it in the dump. That sucked. I'll probably live there for ages. I've got a whole bunch of other stuff that needs to go to the dump as well. Looks pretty good. Fits well. I'm gonna pull it off, flip it upside down, and then glue and screw all this stuff. Figure that bit out. So I thought I could just glue these rings in place. I have to do it in a certain way so I can remove them later down the track. This one needs to glue to that, and this one needs to glue to that ring. But while it's been sitting up there, it's all deformed and shitty. It's going to take a little bit of playing around with to get nice again. So time to hang out with little Stacey's. I need to give her attention too. And my son. This will be here. This isn't going anywhere. I'm spread thinly and I'm over prioritizing the boat, and it's doing everyone's head in. I bogged all the rings last night, and then I thought I'd be able to sand them the next day. Oh my God, I should have done better with the bog. I've run out of time. This is gonna take forever to get all this nice and smooth. These rings and everything need to be nice before I glue them together.
Hi, I'm Arnold and I'm going to be helping my dad.
Good boy. Do you like sanding?
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Can't you help?
I'm going to.
Oh.
Try like that, yep. I'm gonna test it out on this. It's called a popcorn gun. I'm gonna try it out before I do it on here. I tried to say before, but I had my mask on. This is a popcorn gun. That's what they call it. I think that's what they call it. It's got a 6mm nozzle and it throws resin out of it. I'm using spray gel coat. I feel like it would be able to throw out normal gel coat. I feel like it would be able to throw out lots of different types. Apparently you can put some Q-cell in it to thicken it up, but it's already like really orange peely. I don't know why, I just expected it to come out smoother than that, but I feel like it's still going to be easier sanding it compared to brushing it on or rolling it on. And it is really easy to clean that gun out too. You literally just keep this bit clean and that bit clean, and you can throw these out. You must like eating vanilla bean ice cream. Anyway, more dust. Stuffed up again. I painted it too early. I rushed it. When I dummy fit this before I painted it, I noticed that I'd put too much of a chamfer on this edge compared to this edge. But I just painted it anyway because I wanted to get something done. And now I'm stuck with epoxy resin. This wasn't quite hard enough to sand nicely. I went around the edges. Anyway, I stuffed up. I've got some good news. This one where I thought the nut had let go, hadn't let go. I pulled the bolt out with the multi-grips and I re-tapped it and it feels fine. I re-tapped all of them now too. So that's really good news. I needed something good. I think I'll get away with gluing in the bolts for the rings now. I had to be mindful of all the ribs that are in this top section because I need to mess with this area. So I've got all the holes marked out. I'm not happy that it's protruding, but it's a better option compared to having recessed screws into this area, I think, which is all that really matters. No one cares anyway. I've got to put some holes in this plate on all four corners so I can get hoses and wires through. I also need to make a plate to go around here. I'm going to weld some nuts and then I'll tap them in and make it nice. And it's just going to be Sikaflex because before I do that, I'm going to oversize these holes here and the Sikaflex will be able to have some move side to side. Then it can, I don't know. You can probably see that I've oversized this hole. That's for that reason, so it can wobble around this way and this way. I just beefed up the pads that the actuators will be going into. I used epoxy resin and 4 layers of relatively thin triaxle or whatever it's called. Looks like a bit of a mess, but once I make the metal pads, at least it's definitely got some beef on it. It was a little bit thin in some of these areas. I noticed when I had a light shining from this side, I could see light from that way. And then these bits need to be strong. Hopefully this works. Yeah. Oh my God, I badly need to fix a frigging cable for this. I swear it has to be the cable because I've replaced all the components inside the stupid head. I've changed the earth a million times. I've wire brushed everything. Oh, it's driving me nuts. Something so simple that normally works every time, it's just not working. Oh, it's taken a lot of goes to get this far. So I'm gonna weld nuts on the back of it. I oversized the holes with the CNC plasma cutter because I hate drilling stainless. Anyway, I'm welding it. These are the sticks I'm using, stainless steel, skinny ones. I'm doing this because stick is quicker than TIG, and my TIG unit is a bit poopy. It's a pain in the ass undoing them. They're all shitty looking now. I'll clean it up and then I'll re-tap it. So I've oversized the holes here big time. I've only got M5 bolts and that's a 10.5 mil hole. And that's so when I put this together, if it does want to move around, it can. I'm just going to Sikaflex this ring in now and the Sikaflex will give it play. I hope. Everything's just a theory for old Michael. I don't know what I'm really doing. I'm just a stupid idiot that just wastes all of his time trying to make something really awesome in his stupid mind. I don't even know what I'm doing. Just going to put this all back together. Before I paint this and the other inside rings, I need to figure out how I can fix the rings to the top of the roof so that it'll make it stronger and it won't wobble. I'm pretty sure it won't wobble that much now anyway, once it's all put together. But anyway, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just trying to make it work. I got that together much faster this time, which is really good because faster is good and easier is the best. This is really rigid here, so I'm guessing I need to glue this bit onto here and then dummy screw the inside ring in without the middle piece in, and then see how much wobble she gets then. And then I will figure out, I might fiberglass some tabs into the top side of the roof that will have nuts to hold the underside of the roof to the top side of the roof in the middle-ish area around the perimeter of this little ring in here. I'm loving these areas now. They're a good place to lift from. Much better than these screws. Oh yeah. When I put all these together, I've found out on this one screw, I countersunk it too deep and it pulled all the way through. So got to fix that or do something with that. I've just noticed, and I did notice when I was screwing this in, that this lip here is angled up now because when I screwed it down, it all buckled. So I need to grind this heavily before I glue that blue section, which is going to be the first main ring, I'll call it. Yeah, so more work. And I'm thinking of gluing a little T piece in here which fixes the underside to the top side, and then I'll fiberglass over it so it's strong. I don't want to have any wobbles. That big subwoofer is going to make some big bass. Everything I do requires fixing before I do anything. It's driving me nuts. I've finally got a good early start and I've just wasted hours trying to fix this. This is me trying to make it go out. I've undone the X-axis plug back here. It doesn't look too bad, but it doesn't look too good either. I know I don't really look after it much, but this is the first problem I've really had with it, other than it doing the firing thing, which I changed the USB printer cable and it's still shitty. I just keep pressing that and it's going wherever it wants. And I really need it. So I'm pretty sure it's a stepper motor. It won't go slow. No places locally sell these, so I'm gonna try and pinch this one, see if that fixes the problem. So I just tried the stepper motor from the CNC router in the plasma cutter and that didn't work either. There's something wrong with the control box, I think. I don't know. I've done a firmware update. I've done everything I can think of and I'm losing my mind. I'm completely demoralized again. That's why I didn't want to do that square bar idea for in there. It's very time consuming. So I'm going to make a bunch of these. This is what I wanted to use the CNC plasma cutter for, is to cut some pieces of stainless steel and bend them to the appropriate sizes. I thought that would be a lot stronger and it probably would, but the CNC plasma cutter is out of action. This is my idea anyway. This is going to go under here. This is screw will go through this bit here and then key into it like that. And then I'll just tack glue it for now so it holds the little pads in place, and then I'll fiberglass and glue all the way up this wall and this will be exposed. And that will make this underside of the skin fixed to the top side. 1. That's 2. I just wanted to say this Temu laser that does the 360 all around is awesome. Very good price. $50 or something. Definitely worth buying. I screwed all the little supports in now and my idea is to epoxy resin them as well as I can from where I can get it from. And I have to make sure that I squeeze some glue into the square nut area so that the square nut doesn't shift around. And then after that, I'll lift this off and I'll get to it a lot easier. This one is an abortion. I used the last of the glue to do this because I actually forgot to glue it at all. I have to make sure it doesn't stick to this ring up here. Hopefully that'll be good enough.